Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jonah from Spotlight, and I'm delighted to be here with you. Today, we are going to get into some awesome stuff. It's going to be all mindset and really valuable tools to take yourself, put yourself in the right place to make sure that everything you build and everything you do has value and you're confident when you do it. And we're talking all about confidence today. So we're going to get into all of that in a minute. But please, before we get started, hop into the comments. Let me know that you can hear and see me all right. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from, something you're excited to learn today. And also let me know at any point just a little bit about you if you don't mind. I love learning about where you're at in your process of building a business, building courses, if you're just interested in starting out or if you already have a thriving business and you're just looking to get better with everything. Love knowing where you all are at so I can make sure to craft this event and future events around you and make sure it meets your needs. And at any point throughout the event, please feel free to ask questions, especially today. We're talking pretty big level ethereal mindset stuff today. So it's worthy of every question. And I'm here to answer every question and give my vulnerable, real feedback. As well as working for Spotlight and Teachable, I am also a creator. I have my own business. I've built multiple businesses. I have my own brand, and I've worked for a bunch of other brands and companies. So I'm coming from that side of having been both the leader and the worker and in many different industries. So really excited to dive in with you today. Raphael Cox, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone else who's here, hop in the comments, whether you're watching live or the replay. And if by the way, you have to get up away from the computer or life happens around you. You weren't able to make it to the live today. There will be a replay. It'll be on the Spotlight by Teachable YouTube. It'll also be on spotlightapp.io, our website, and it'll be emailed to you along with some additional resources if you RSVP to the event. Just want to call out, like I said, Raphael is here. We got Katrina here from New Zealand. 2 years into Teachable School ownership. That's awesome. Oh, Leia, hello from Louisiana. Awesome. Well, thank you all again so much for joining us. And I want to dive in today. Like I said, we are talking about how to build confidence and how to sell with that confidence. And again, we're talking really high level stuff today, but I've found and wanted to host this event and built this event because a lot of my experience, both working directly with creators and hosting these events for the questions people ask in the comments, is that regardless of how confident you may feel right off the bat, there's a lot of road bumps and challenges on the road to building your online business. And it's hard to maintain your confidence all the way through. And especially when it comes time to sell, people can build and work hard and develop and do everything right. And then when it comes time to actually sell their products, they have a maybe you kind of sort of, maybe you would like this if you feel like taking a look at it. And there's a problem if we are not confident with ourselves, with our products, and with what we're offering, the value that we're offering. Why would anyone else be? So that's what we're talking about today. I'm sure there are many things I'm going to miss today, and I'm sure there's many questions that might come up. Ask them. Let's dive in. We've got time throughout the presentation to have a conversation and near the end. So, especially with something like this, it's important that we all show up ready to just be honest, lay our hearts out, and start this process of building confidence. So let's dive in. If you're here, you either know it to your core or you've heard somewhere, if not in the last 3 minutes, that you have to be confident to do any of these things, to build an audience, to make great products, to sell your products, to build a successful business. Anytime you go out there and look up how to do any of these things, you will see people with big smiles and a lot of money, supposedly, and a lot of success saying, I got here by being confident. And that confidence is vital to all of these aspects. And I want to dispel what I think is a pretty big myth here, which is this underlying idea that confident people do great things. That's what is the subtext of all of this kind of rhetoric, that you need to build your confidence in order to do great things. Well, from my own experience, from the experience of the hundreds of creators that I've worked with here at Spotlight and in my own business, I'm going to tell you, I think this is bull hokey. This is not true. This is not how it works. And it's certainly not how it worked for me at any point in my process. I'm going to propose that we flip this, that if you start doing great things, it'll make you a confident person. And this is, in fact, not just a one way street. The more better things you make, the more your confidence will build. And the more you're confident, the even better things you can make. It's a cycle and it's a process, but it begins with doing things, and doing those things make you confident. The phrase of today, and the phrase I want you to take home, I want you to type it in the chat. I want you to say it to yourself. I want to text it to your loved ones. And I want this to become your mantra, either exactly these words or some version that feels natural to you, is I bet I can do that. It's so simple. And it holds a reasonable amount of doubt because we want to maintain humility and not become arrogant pigs. But I bet I can do that. That's our phrase of the day, and that's what we're going to carry through. I love Raphael is coming in. I know I can do that. And I love that attitude, Raphael. I know I can do that. I bet I can do that. I The point is I will try and I will do my best, and my confidence will come from the fact that I tried and I accomplished a task. Whether it's filming videos, whether it's creating courses, whether it's starting a business or getting clients, we're going to all say here today that I bet I can do that. I bet I can do that if I put my mind to it. I bet I can do that. I'm really hammering this home today. So, I want to do something that I haven't really done at many of these events, because normally it's about you and it's about Spotlight, it's about Teachable. But I realize I also haven't given any background on myself in any of these events. And I want to share a bit of my story over the last couple of years to serve as proof for the theory that I'm showing here today. So, pre-pandemic, around 2 years ago, right? Almost 3 years ago, maybe. God, what a trip. Pre-pandemic, I was a sound engineer. I was a touring musician. I worked at bars when I wasn't out on tour. I did technically have my own business. I was making very little money and mostly just having expenses, but I was having a great time. And that was important. That was my entire life. I felt great. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was making enough money to get by, and I was enjoying everything I did. Well, come March 13th, 2020, literally all of that evaporated overnight. We found out at a bar that I was working at that the pandemic was hitting. At the time, I lived in Seattle, that the pandemic had reached Seattle and all the bars were going to be closed the next day. Obviously, the upcoming tours I had were immediately canceled. And the little bit of business and the few clients that I had were very unsure. So everything evaporated overnight. And this comfortable little life that I was living, making just enough to get by, but enjoying the heck out of myself, was rapidly destroyed. And to be fair, this has happened to a lot of people during the pandemic, but this is just either somewhere where you are, it's something that might happen, something might push you to create a change, or you can just create it yourself when you are ready to move on. And the one beautiful thing that this did is it made me immediately have to reevaluate everything that I was doing and how I was going to do it next. And yeah, it hurt a little. It hurt a little. But next, in between this period between March 20th and March 2020 and roughly June 2021, little unemployment came in, and I started to build my business. I had some skill sets from being a sound engineer, a music producer, and all of that. So immediately I started editing podcasts. I would just reach out to people on Instagram, ask for a nominal amount of money, try and find people that didn't already have editors. I would edit YouTube videos. I started slowly building a small clientele, but I was desperate for clients and desperate for bigger clients. And I sincerely mean desperate. Like the money wasn't there, and I needed to figure something out because I was barely scraping by, making about 1,000 to maybe on a good month, 2,500 a month, which in many places is a good income. But if you've heard of or been to Seattle, you know that that is way below quote unquote the poverty line, although it shouldn't be there, but it is. And so things were not looking so good, but they were getting better. And I kept just working for other people as a means to learn and as a means for money, trying to target clients that were doing the things I wanted to eventually do. My goals were to eventually build my own platform, to work for better clients, to work for bigger clients, to reach more people. So I tried to target people who were doing those things. I was just simply using what skills I had to do the best that I could. And although this worked, it didn't feel great all the time. My confidence was probably at one of the all-time lows, as I'm sure many people's were during the pandemic. And holler in the comments if you struggled with confidence in the last 3 years. But man, was this a blow. My whole life and identity had shifted around, and although many blessings came from it, they had not truly manifested yet. Well, come May 2021, a lot of things started turning around. I was starting to get more and more clients. I had built a little more of a repertoire and all of that. But someone texted me, "Hey, I just saw Teachable tweet that they're looking for hosts for their live events. Maybe something you're interested in." I had never hosted an online event in my life. And the idea was relatively terrifying. But at that point, I was absolutely happy to do anything. I had the computer, I had the equipment, I had everything I needed technically to get going. So I replied, "I bet I can do that." And this little bit of confidence, this phrase, this mindset led to a lot of growth. And just to flashback, this is my first event, almost a little more, not almost, a little more than a year ago, 2021. Now, if you could look at my face here, everything from my audio and video setup to my actual just face as I'm handling this event, no confidence, no idea what I'm doing, and absolutely no good vibe. I think I did okay in those first events, and you could go back and watch them. But man, I think I've come an immense way. And it all was just because I said, "I bet I can do this." Every time we would have a new event with a new creator, they were all incredibly awesome, incredibly highly qualified people. And it's intimidating to sit down with those people and try and hold your own in a conversation while also getting out of the way so they have time to speak. But I kept just saying, "I bet I can do this." And with every single event that I did, that confidence grew without me necessarily thinking about it. I was just headstrong and determined that I bet I can do this. I'm going to do this. I focused on the thing, and bit by bit, my confidence grew. And now I've done in the last year over 120 events with creators and on my own on that principle. I bet I can do this. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant or boast here, just illustrate how every event led to the next, led to the next, led to the next. And over time, it was crazy when I was assembling this event today to look back and actually go, wow, that's quite a catalog of work that I've been part of and that I'm absolutely proud to be part of. And now, fast forward to yesterday's event, which if you were there, holler out in the comments. But look at this face. I'm confident. I'm having a blast. I truly do have an absolutely great time at every single one of these events. And I am an expert now. I can confidently say that. I came in a year ago knowing hardly anything about email marketing, about building courses, about about growing an audience, about building confidence. All of these things were just fun ideas to me. But after a year of setting my mind to just showing up and doing my best, I've talked to some of the greatest and most successful creators that are in the world, that are on the Teachable platform now. I've learned through every interaction, and that learning has built an immense amount of confidence, all based off the phrase, I bet I can do this. So here is the crux of the problem, and here's what's really hard. And this comes as the barrier between you and that I bet I can do that attitude. And it's really just about getting out of your comfort zone and getting comfortable with getting out of your comfort zone, which is hard because it forces you to reflect. You have to learn how to critique yourself. It's never going to be easy. It might get easier, but it's never going to be easy. And many times it just kind of sucks. It sucks when you're in it. And then when you take a minute down the line and look back, that's when you get that satisfaction of the pride and the confidence that you did it and you're growing and you're building. So, I want to try and give you some actionable tips today on how to handle these challenges that come in the way of you saying, I bet I can do this. Or, like Raphael says, I know I can do that. Love that. So, when it comes to self reflection, I want you to commit today, here, right now, to leave this stuff behind. Leave it at the door, leave it outside. And no one is an emotional gladiator. These things are going to come up. But when it's time for you to go out and work and do things, make things, be present, you take all of these things, you throw it in a bag, and you leave it at the front door. That negative self talk, that you can't do this, that you're not qualified, that you're not an expert, all of that stuff. The reality is, even if someone has said that to your face in the past, when you are thinking that, when you are experiencing that, it is only you telling yourself those things. This isn't even an exaggeration or any sort of metaphor. It literally is only you thinking those things. I'm not saying that to shame or anything. I'm just saying that so that you realize that when you're in that state, you are in control of changing that. And it's going to take time, but we're going to leave that at the door. We're going to leave that I can't mentality because it's just not true. If my story serves as any purpose, it's that you can, you just have to start and you just have to try. I know that sounds corny, but I'm here to pump you up and tell you that you can absolutely do this. I want you to also leave at the door all your past attempts. Every video is a brand new start. Every event is a brand new start. Every product is a brand new start. Every freaking day is an opportunity to do better and do it differently. So your past does not follow you into the room every time you're setting out to do something new. And the last thing I need you to leave at the door is that failure is bad. It's just not true. Failure is a product of trying. It only happens when you try. The one way you can truly ultimately fail is by not trying at all. And it may feel like you're not failing because you're not trying anything, but in the long run, you're limiting yourself from doing anything. But failing, every time you fail, you learn something, you adapt, you change. And in most cases, we blow these things out of proportion. And at least in my industry and these things and these live events, if I fail a little here or there, it sucks. I hate it. I want to be the best at what I do. But the reality is, no one's going to die. No one's going to get hurt. No one is really damaged. And we can start over tomorrow and do it again. So I want you to commit to leaving these things out of the room when it's time to work, to build products, to make videos, to make content, to grow your audience. When it's time to actually do what you need to do and do things, because that's how we build businesses. We do things and we make stuff. Leave these things behind. The next thing I want to address is that self critique. When we do fall into self critique, when we do have to look at what we make and give ourselves legitimate, honest advice, critique yourself like a friend. If a good friend came to you and said, "Hey, can you check out this course I built? I would really love your opinion." Likeliness is, if you're a good friend, you wouldn't say, "Yeah, this sucks. You shouldn't even try this again. What a piece of garbage. You'll never be able to do this. You should just give up." No one would say this to you. None of your friends would say this to you. This is only the stuff we say to ourselves. And I want to give you a tool I use for critiquing myself. And it's a really simple tag that I just put at the beginning of every critique I have for myself. And first, I just want to analyze what critique actually means. The literal definition of critique is evaluate a theory or practice in a detailed and analytical way. And you can guarantee that you're doing this for yourself in a kind way by using this phrase. Next time I could. That's it. That's how simple it is. And if you commit to this phrase and to tagging this before any critique you have, even if your critique is suck less, at least we're not remorseful and dwelling in the past. We're looking forward always. And this is going to feel weird at first. It's not going to feel honest. But if you commit to using this and thinking in this way over time, you're going to find that it becomes second nature. This wasn't natural for me, but I had great coaches and great mentors in my life who helped coach me in this direction, and it made such a difference. Next time, I could sit up a little straighter. Next time, I could look people in the eyes when I talk to them. Next time, I could talk like I am the expert I am. Next time, I could sell myself a little better. Next time I could, next time I will. This is how we productively critique ourselves as creators, as creatives, as entrepreneurs, because nothing is gained from bashing ourselves over the head looking at the past. So, I want you to hop in the comments throughout this. Let me know, because it's just you and I here, and I want to know if this is resonating, if it makes sense, if this is stuff that is second nature to you, or what aspects of this you are working on. But I want to address this third point in getting out of your comfort zone, which is that it is hard. And none of this will happen overnight. So I want you to commit to this, and you could type it in the chat. You could just say it to yourself. But I want you to switch your mindset, right? We're doing this mindset switch from that we need to be confident in order to make great stuff. We're going to say we're going to make great things. And in that process, we're going to become confident. So I want you to say to yourself, I will focus all of my attention on the things I do and not the person doing them, right? It's not about us. It's about what we're making and how that's going to impact people. And if you focus on that and you focus on making great products, that confidence will come as a result of you making great products. And just the last point I want to make in this realm of hopping out of your comfort zone is it does just suck. And I've found no other solution for this other than to put it out there. Put the things you make out in the wild, because once they get out there, that's when you'll get affirmations. That's when you'll get people saying, wow, this really made a difference. Wow, this really changed my life. Or even comments like I get in this event. Katrina, when you say love it. Raphael, when you say something I said resonated with you. or that it's making a lot of sense. I'm putting myself out there, and these impacts, these tiny little impacts and these validations, whether they're comments, whether they're testimonials from courses, whether it's unspoken, but you can just tell the impact you're making when you're coaching a client or building a product for a client. That's what makes it not suck. It's the impact that pulls you out of the suck and gives you purpose and gives you real drive. So, just to bring that around, because it is hard when you put yourself out there. That's also when it gets really hard to control these things we talked about in the reflection side. Because you're also going to get a lot of hate, especially if you're successful and you build a big platform. There are plenty of people out there who are eager to critique you. And if you've been to a past event, you may have seen this same quote here, but I love it. And to let the great goddess Taylor Swift speak the words that she so famously is known for, haters gonna hate. But the reality is it just doesn't matter. None of these opinions matter. Your friends, your dear compatriots, your coworkers, the people who you trust and love can comment and critique you, and you can give yourself next time I will, next time I could kind of critique. But that negative self-talk, when it comes from other people, I want you to have a no negativity policy. Just absolutely no one gets through. Negativity is never helpful in your life or anyone else's. And if anyone is throwing that at you, dismiss it. If someone cannot wrap their critique into a valuable, positive, actionable way for you to proceed, they don't care, and you don't need to care about their opinion. That's it. Anyone who really cares about you, really values your platform, or really wants you to succeed is gonna put in the work to give you an actionable way to improve. So create a filter for those people that come in with negativity. Just not not an option. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. When you put yourself out there, they don't get to have control over you. That I can't mentality reflected back from others that you can't, that just means that they can. Most people out there who are critiquing you on the internet saying you can't do this aren't doing anything themselves. I can guarantee you that not a single creator that I have worked with who is successful, valuable, and making an impact is out there commenting on other creators' platforms saying they did something wrong or they can't do it. The reality is, mean people are sad people. You can fight me on that, but I will drill that home every day. That is my life experience. And it is not our responsibility to take care of all those mean, sad people when we're working hard on bettering ourselves. So, that you can't mentality, anytime you encounter that, has nothing to do with you. All that past work, if someone says your past work sucks or that, they don't even know. And I want you to harbor this attitude that just wait until they see the next thing. Like, the next thing you're working on is always going to be better. Whether they recognize it or not, you are an evolving creature, an evolving being. And if you're working to get better, the next thing always will be better. And they have no idea what it is. No one knows what's on your hard drive. No one knows what you're drafting. No one knows the course that you haven't launched yet. They just don't know. And then the last point is that any sense of failure, no one else gets to judge your product progress. Absolutely no one else. Your boss, people like that may judge your progress so that they can pay you accordingly. But as far as your internal process, your process of building confidence, being more confident, making great things, and making an impact, only you have control over that. And only you get to say what that is. And if you adapt a positive way of speaking to yourself, and if you're willing to put yourself out there and learn from the failures that you make because you're trying, then you are accomplishing the goal and you are growing and you are adapting and you are changing and all that good stuff is just around the corner. So, I want to wrap up this specific section today by just locking down with a quote from Tay Tay that I found in building a previous event, wasn't searching for, but I think is great, which is just that fearless is not an absence of fear. It's not being completely unafraid. To me, fearless is having fears. Fearless is having doubts, lots of them. To me, fearless is living in spite of those things that scare you to death. God bless Tay Tay. I freaking love this. And I love that idea of fearlessness being trucking forward in spite of the challenges, in spite of the suck, in spite of all the challenges. We just keep going. And that is what being fearless is. And fearlessness is confidence. So, this is a little bit of a shorter event today because I really don't want to take up a whole lot of your time just talking about confidence. And I want to put this all together because, as the title of this event says, I'm trying to teach you how to sell things better and build your confidence by building products, by building things, by making things. And just to iterate a point, I want to give you some confidence based sales mindset. Because, like we've talked about, your confidence and your products are tied in a revolving cycle. The more products you make, the more confident you'll get at making products. The more videos you make, the more confident you'll be making videos. And the more confident you are, the better your posts will be, the better your emails will be, the better your courses will be, the better your life will be. And it is a cycle, not a one-way path. We do things to become confident, and the confidence we build by doing things makes us do better. So, how that works in sales is pretty fundamental to how you approach your sales tactic. People want to be confident. That's flat out true. If you're here today, you can't fight me on that because you clicked the link, you signed up for this event, you came here today because you want to be more confident. I'm here today because not only do I want you to be more confident, but I want to be more confident. That's part of why, that's a big part of internally why I love doing these events, why I love being here with you all, hearing where you're at, learning about you, teaching you, putting this all together is because every single event I do, I walk away feeling a little bit more confident because I did it. So people want to be confident. And the reality is, people buy things that make them feel more confident. And if someone is confident, we often think it must be because of the things they have. And if I buy that, I'll be more like that person, AKA more confident. The reality is, people don't buy products. They buy the person that product makes them feel like, right? It's why we like nice things. It's why we like unique things. It's why we have emotional attachments to things in general, is because we buy the things and we want the things that make us feel like the people who would have those things. So I want you to walk away from this event and promise to focus on making products that make you feel confident. Make the things that make you feel good and make you feel confident building them. That confidence you build will show. And when it's time for you to go out to sell your products, you're going to be confident that they're valuable because you worked your butt off to make a great product. And at the end of it, that made you more confident. And others will want that feeling. They'll be able to see it in you, they'll be able to hear it in you, they'll be able to know with everything you do that you are confident in your products, in what you build, and that your products build that confidence for them. So, got one more thing to say to you before we wrap up today. And it's just a closing thought. that as creators, as educators, as impactful people who want to make a difference in this world, it's simply just not about you. It's simply not about you. It's so easy to get hung up while you're trying to build an audience on social media, whether you're filming videos for a course, whether you're just trying to build a business that makes a difference. It's so easy to get caught up in your failures, your mistakes, the problems you are having. But the reality is, it's not about you. It's not for you. It has nothing to do with you. And if you're out here to make a difference in the world and you're out here to build things that help people, focus on those people. Focus on helping them. Focus on solving those problems and learning everything you can in the process. And if you focus on every other person and how you can help them, you focus on building products, making videos, building an audience, starting communities. If you focus on creating solutions for people, solving their problems, and making this world better, that's the whole battle. You'll be able to look back at some point and realize how much has changed, how much more confident you are, and how much of an impact you've made. So, now is usually the time where I tell you that Teachable is an incredible product and it's here for you when you're ready to sell. And it is. And if you don't have a Teachable account, it's free. You can sign up with the link below. You can get started. You can build all these products, courses, coaching products, all of those things are available there. But more than anything, I just want you to go out and commit today to focusing on building great things. I know it sounds silly, but just build great things. Build things that will exceed expectations and use everything you've got to do so. If you focus on that, confidence will come. Confidence will come as a property of accomplishing those tasks, and it will no longer be something that you have to work on. Just go out into the world, make fantastic stuff, come back, share what you're working on in the comments because we want to know and we want to share it too. But thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Drop in the comments. Let me know if you had a good time. I hope to see you soon. It's always a blast hanging out with you. Go make some awesome stuff, y'all, and see you soon.